Hello, welcome back to another 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross video, and today we're going to be going over the new green small Diane that just came out on Global for the second part of the 100-day anniversary. So let's just jump right into it and see if we should really even consider drawing for this green small Diane. So first we're going to look at her image here. So this is her You Are Awakened form, and taking a look at her passive known as Stretch. It taunts enemies and creates a barrier equal to 300% of her defense at the start of the battle. So what taunt does, if you don't know, is this directs all attacks towards Diane. So if you're going first or second, doesn't really matter. This activates the moment she gets in, and all the enemies have to break that taunt first. So they are going to have to either freeze her or petrify her to get this to be nullified, so then they can attack the rest of your heroes. And this is her skill set right here. So she has an attack, and she has a buff, and she has an ultimate, but also a combined ultimate with Hauser. We'll be talking about that in a little bit later. And some of the strengths about Green Small Diane is that she's a really strong tank. So if they have no way to nullify her taunt, being able to get through that defensive wall that she is, and even using these cards to even further strengthen her taunt, it's going to be a while, and it's just going to be a really long and dragged out battle. So that's the really big selling point here for Green Small Diane. But one of the weaknesses is if you consider using her buff cards to increase her taunt, you're going to need a full defense set to really shine, because, and then next you'll see why this is really important. One thing about this is if you make a team all revolved around her, if she dies, this may be an issue, because then everyone else, hopefully they're just as strong and also survive as well. And once again, her taunts can be removed by petrifies and freeze, so you got to watch out for that. These are the level 1 stats for her. So as you can see down here, not too bad, not too bad. And let's go over and look at her skill cards. So looking at Green Small Diane's skills, her first skill is known as Metal Shock. It's an attack card. So this is important just so you need to know. Because it's classified as an attack, Gauther can attack disable, or anyone else that can quote-unquote attack disable. So what it does is inflicts severed damage equal to 160 at the bronze, 240 for the silver, and 400 for the gold % of attack on one enemy. So what severed does is increase 2 times crit chance, I believe. So that's her multipliers for that. And what really is important about this unit is this skill right here. So what we're talking about is heavy metal, and it's known as a buff skill. So on top of her passive that creates the barrier and taunts the enemies, if they so happen to remove that, and you can then cleanse with a king or something, you can then put up another taunt with this skill. And what it does, once again, is directs all the attacks towards her. And it also increases defense related stats by 80%, 120, or 200 depending on the level of the card for 3 turns. So why I mentioned that you need an all 3 defensive sets, so you're going to need 6 pieces of defense, is that when you have those sets, it just gives an extra 20% buff for her defense related stats. So the 80% or the 120 and the 200, or just the defense actually. So this is really important to really make her taunt really strong and just be able to tank a lot of attacks. Looking now over at her ultimate, so it's known as Dragon Kick. That's this one right here, the one without Hauser, and it inflicts pierce damage equal to 560 of attack on one enemy. So if you don't have a Valenti on the other side to help nullify this pierce, this could be hitting like a truck. So 560 is pretty good. You can go all the way up to 840. If you do the combined attack with Hauser, Metal Cyclone, this now does the same thing, but at a higher percentage. So 640 is your starting, so that's an 80% increase, and it can go all the way up to 960. So let's take a look at that ultimate. All right, here, let's go. All right, nice. Kung Fu status. Very nice, very nice. Very nice. Now we gotta take a look at Hauser and Diane. Spin her up with the Cyclone. Heavy Metal. Yeah, very nice. Oh my gosh, that guy's nuts are absolutely destroyed. Oh my gosh, do not mess with Diane. Alright. So, taking a look at some of the potential teams that you can use with Green Diane, and of course this is not a fully exhaustive list, and I just came up with some ideas on the spot, thinking what could we do with Green Small Diane? The first one I have here is something I called Ult Rush, and it's more of a balanced team. So we got Gauther to just Gauther. He can be used in many things, of course. You already all know. So the rank up skills, attack disable, and an AoE attack, AoE ultimate. Absolutely phenomenal. And we got Escanor, of course, he's Big Daddy Sunshine. Escanor is going to do work. And Green Diane, of course, just to try to get everyone to attack her and just redirect all the attention to her. And so Gauther can build up his AoE ultimate, and Escanor can also build up his ult gauges as well. So something that's also really nice is that Gauther here, he can rank up Diane's second ability, so being able to increase that taunt to 120, so making it even stronger. That's one thing. And for the sub slot, we got Green Merlin, of course, so giving that passive with everyone starting off with an extra ultimate gauge food or ultimate gauge. And if you use ult food, that's an additional one, so everyone's going to start off with 2 ult gauge orbs. So simple strategy, or what I thought of real quick, is basically try to rush Gauther's ultimate, try to deplete everyone's ultimate. They're going to be having tough time probably just trying to get rid of that taunt from Diane. And if she does, if it does get removed, maybe you can put it back up. Hopefully it's not a petrify or a freeze, we'll see. It's all by case. And yeah, this one, just try to get that ult and just wipe everyone out. The next one is also a variant of Ult Rush, I believe, but it's a more slow and steady version, and maybe I shouldn't call it Ult Rush, but if you use Resist Food with Valenti, this is going to take a while for your team to even get through all this. So definitely people are going to hate you for playing this, but if you look one down below, everyone's definitely going to hate you if you play this. So I call this patience is a virtue, and this is the super slow cancer. Okay, we got Merlin to put up the cube, we got Valenti to reduce the enemy's pierce, we got the taunt and increase defense, and Guild Thunder in the back, just increasing everyone's defense related stats. So this is a slow meta team. So it's just I advise you to not play this because everyone's gonna hate you, but do you. And some main slot subs, so say you don't have one of these characters or you want to try something different. Some things that I may be trying in the future is using a Red Arthur. Red Arthur's pretty awesome, great ultimate. He also has that buff, and potentially he can really plow through Diane's taunt and her barriers, so can really get in there. And we got Blue Skinny King, one of the best units still, very versatile, so he can petrify, he can cleanse, so just very useful in many situations. And Jericho, I wanted to just put Jericho back in the mix because since the new guild boss came out, I don't think many people are going to be using Jericho anymore. So if you want another additional DPS, so someone who can really do some damage, if you have Jericho on your team, like say instead of Gauther, and everyone's trying to get rid of Diane, or at least use one of their cards to CC her, freeze her, whatever it may be, that just increases the survivability of Jericho. And hopefully if you're running this with an ult rush team with ult food and everything, she can then just get off her ultimate and just completely annihilate one person. So that's just an idea. I don't know how feasible that is. Probably not so much because you just get wrecked, because Jericho has a tough time just being able to survive with her low HP, usually known as just like a glass cannon. And a fourth slot sub could be this Red Grimoire. Once again, he's very good, increasing everyone's HP by 15% on the team. So Very nice, very nice. And of course, let me know down in the comments if there's any better team compositions you think of. What do you think about mine? It's just, once again, these are not the most fully thought out of, but just some fun teams you can try out first. And as time goes on, the community will figure out the meta and figure out what the most optimal teams are if you are interested in using green Diane here. So for final thoughts about green small Diane, she's obviously waifu. She's obviously super cute. She's the best tank in the game, and she gives you a window of opportunity in the beginning of PvP matches. I don't know how much use you're going to get out of her for PvE, so that's the first thing. If you are not that interested in PvP, I would hesitate on drawing for her. But one thing to note is if you go in a mirror match in PvP, so both of you are going to be trying to get rid of Diane, the green small Diane. You're either going to CC, freeze, whatever it may be to start really making a dent onto the team. And if you do geared PvP, full defense set is pretty much the way to go if you really want to see her shine, despite or barring getting petrifies or freeze to remove her taunts. And with the big news where UR gear is coming for Valenti first and Diane and Gil Thunder and Hauser, I believe, you can really set up a really tanky meta in this this current state of global 7 deadly sins Grand Cross. So she may be an option in the future. Like I said, the community is going to figure out what are the best teams, and we'll just have to wait and see. So my final take is pull if you have the resources to maximize her potential and care for PvP. So when I say maximize her potential, I hope you have the gear, at least full defense set for her, and you really are into PvP. So specifically gear PvP. But ungeared PvP, there might be better options, and the ungeared PvP is probably the better PvP for most people if you just want to get those diamonds and collect the heroes, have fun, and dabble your feet into geared PvP from time to time. So that's my final thoughts, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps the channel, and just lets me know that you are enjoying this. So until next time, see you guys in the next one. Peace.